price price per barrel for oil from 1970 to recent times. And as you can see from this graph, oil prices have risen exponentially. However, the increase in basic source of this necessity is not from 34 oil companies. It's actually from one person, John D. Rockefeller. And when I'm done today, you'll be able to answer how his early life affected today's industry, what were his strategies, and how did all this affect today's market. In 1851 to 1853, he attended Oswego Academy in New York while working as a bookkeeper for a small commission firm. In this firm, he learned valuable lessons in the market, such as transportation costs, which is a major factor in his success. In 1859, he and a partner, M.B. Clark, decided to create their own company in wholesale foodstuffs and never had a losing year. However, with their immense success, they also noticed whale oil at that time becoming more expensive and bought oil refinery. Later on, he bought out his partner for $72,000, and around that time, at 1868, through heavy borrowing and heavier investing, he owned another 2 Cleveland refineries and a marketing subsidiary in New York, which created the largest oil refinery in the world. Many of his strategies are the cause of his success. For example, he hated middlemen and other factors that increase his price. So through horizontal and vertical integration, he actually bought out every factor that affected his price and created his own. He also made a deal with railroad companies, which was actually not allowed, but he made a deal with railroad companies because he transported a large bulk of their sources, and because of that, he got rebates that others weren't able to, and thus cut his price by half. He also undercutted the competition, improved efficiency, and gave discounts to the poor, which demonstrated his generosity as well. There's another event called the Cleveland Conquest, in which Rockefeller bought out 22 out of 26 of all his competitors, thus just dominating the market. By the 1870s, he dominated 90% of the whole market. He also tried to invest in pipelines to bypass a railroad, which made the railroad company very wary because this was most of their sales. So, in return, the railroad company ended up buying oil assets in return, which angered Rockefeller and Rockefeller. So, by doing so, Rockefeller goes over there and buys all the oil assets that the railroad company has, and also Pennsylvania Railroad as well. The result of his strategies was that he created the best price by underselling, differential pricing, and secret transportation rebates. In 1882, he created the Standard Oil Trust, which was later rejected by the Sherman Antitrust Act due to monopolistic actions. In 1911, the government finds out the company was in further violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act and disbands it, and demands this whole company into 34 other companies. Now, these 34 other companies are still here today in ways such as Continental Oil, Chevron, Exxon, and Pennzoil. By doing so, Rockefeller lost all his power, but gained a 5-fold increase in his personal wealth. This is because Standard Oil, he owns 25% of all Standard Oil stocks and received proportionate shares in each of the 34 companies. Lastly, Rockefeller knew what he wanted to accomplish even in his early life. He created an oil refinery and expanded it before many people could start their own. He took over them before others could. He cut costs with clever strategies and eventually bought out his competition completely. Even in the end, his wealth increased from $58 million to over $900 million, not to a gain, but actually to an actual loss. So, in short, John D. Rockefeller drilled through his obstacles and indeed struck oil.